Young love can be beautiful, powerful, or all-consuming. A jealous teenager vows revenge.
She was just evil. She's like a person without a soul.
A spoiled rich girl indulges her fantasy.
Stab him!
She wanted to make someone pay.
And a love triangle turns to hate.
She wanted to see that life in Adrian's eyes disappear.
These deadly women are schoolgirls one day, killers the next. Driven by poisoned passion, they are lovesick. Most teenagers love their freedom. Not 16-year-old Laurie Show.
Thank you. Please don't be late.
I will be here. I love you.
She's afraid to leave her parents' side.
Anyone who has to live in that fear, you can't imagine what it was like.
Oh, look who it is!
In Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in 1991, Laurie Show is stalked, threatened, and assaulted by another teenager.
Do you know you have a whore as a daughter?
She would call our house all hours of the day and night until it came to the point where I had to change our phone number.
No, it's not gonna stop until she's paid.
Laurie's mom, Hazel, is also a target for Lisa Michelle Lambert.
Call the police.
She would confront me, screaming and yelling that my daughter had wrecked her life. It was scary. I'm an adult, and that girl scared me.
"19-year-old Lisa Michelle is lovesick for Lawrence Yunkin. She moves in with the 20-year-old roofer, but their relationship is anything but a fairy tale.
That's exactly what I want.
They fed off of each other. They were young, they were immature. Their fights got physical.
Oh, you're hurting me.
Their relationship was at times a very volatile one, and even a violent one where he did abuse her. It was on one of their early dates where he raped her, and she continued seeing him. I think that says more about her than it does about him.
Into this unhealthy relationship, the younger 16-year-old Laurie Show becomes an unwitting third party.
Laurie met them, and after knowing them for a short while, Michelle and Lawrence broke up. He was crying and upset. She felt sorry for him. So it's like, hey, let's go shopping.
Thank you. I had a really great time.
I had a great time too.
Just something to get his mind off of Michelle so he wouldn't be moping around. And that was her downfall.
Thank you. I had a really great time.
I had an awesome time. I had a really good time.
Lawrence date raped Laurie.
Please,
What is your problem?
No, I'm sorry. I have to go.
You're not going anywhere. Get in the back. Get your hand off that and get in the back right now. Get in the back.
Lisa Michelle found out that Lawrence had actually raped Laurie. It made her even more angry, but not at Lawrence, at Laurie, his rape victim.
Just 1 week after the rape, Lisa Michelle goes back to her abusive partner with some interesting news.
I'm pregnant.
You're pregnant?
Yeah.
Well, let's drink to that.
Even though Lawrence is pleased, it doesn't ease Lisa Michelle's anger.
The fact that her man looked at another woman was more than she could handle. She had to destroy the source of her pain.
You think you can steal my man, do you? Michelle, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you dare lie to me. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Laurie cried and pleaded, Michelle, just go away. I don't want Lawrence. You're gonna have a baby. Go get married, do whatever. Leave me alone. And she wouldn't have any of it.
Nothing happened. Just watch yourself.
Only one thing will bring this bitter feud to an end. Laurie Show's life is in turmoil. A casual night out has led to rape, and she's being stalked by her attacker's pregnant girlfriend. Her parents rarely leave her alone. Even in a public place, she is in danger.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be. Get off me! Bitch, stop it, you!
She beat Laurie up in the parking lot at the mall.
Hey, what you done to my baby? Yeah.
Laurie wouldn't defend herself because Michelle was pregnant and she was afraid of hurting the baby.
Come on.
At that point, we decided to press charges for a simple assault, and maybe that would waken her up. It didn't help. It just continued.
Lisa Michelle Lambert found out the police were going to arrest her. She said, well, I'll take care of Laurie. And 2 days later, she did.
That bitch is gonna pay.
She's a filthy slut.
Lisa Michelle recruits an accomplice, a gullible new girl in Lancaster, Tabitha Buck.
What are you gonna do to her? I'm gonna cut her hair off so she looks like the whore that she is.
Lisa Michelle convinced her friend Tabitha to go along with it because Tabitha thought it was simply going to be humiliating Laurie by cutting her hair.
But Lisa Michelle has something far more sinister planned. Police officer Renee Booker was assigned to the case. She remembers Lisa Michelle's meticulous plan.
There was a phone call about a problem with Laurie at school, and they asked Hazel, the person asked Hazel to meet her the next day at school to discuss this problem.
For the first time in months, Hazel leaves her daughter alone.
We didn't go anywhere without her being with someone because Michelle was that much of a threat.
With Hazel out of the apartment, Lisa Michelle strikes.
Lawrence Yunkin drove his girlfriend Lisa Michelle Lambert and Tabitha Buck to the condominiums. Tabitha went up first, and Lisa Michelle was nearby.
Hey, is Hazel home? No, she's not. I'm sorry. Get out of here, you crazy bitch! You're gonna pay, bitch!
Within seconds, it is obvious they are not there to cut hair.
Laurie ran to her bedroom.
Help me!
The suspects followed.
Tell me you have my baby! Please!
And Laurie struggled. Tabitha Buck's participation was that she held down Laurie's legs. Laurie had numerous wounds on her body. Her lung was punctured, and her throat was slashed.
When I got to the junior high, there was no one there. And usually I would wait, but that morning something just had me that I had to go home.
Hazel returned home to this carnage.
Laurie! Laurie!
I screamed for someone to call 911, and I went to her side. And at that point, I saw that her throat was cut. I cradled her in my arms and told her I loved her.
I didn't do you! I didn't!
She was able to whisper to me that Michelle did it. Michelle did it.
I can't even fathom what it must have been like for Hazel. Or begin to imagine what it must have been like for her, the horror.
I'm sorry.
All her attempts to protect her child have been futile.
I told her I was so sorry that I left her, that it was a setup. She lured me out.
Honey, I'm sorry.
It was just unbelievable that I fell for that. But I didn't know the depths of evil. The only thing is that I got home in time to talk to her, that I got home to tell her I loved her, and she did nothing wrong. I don't know where I'd be today if I hadn't had that chance. It made all the difference.
Laurie's deathbed testimony leads police straight to Lisa Michelle and her accomplices.
That was a very organized act to get the protector of her victim out of the way, and she succeeded.
Lawrence Yunkin is found guilty of third-degree murder and sentenced to a minimum of 10 years. Tabitha Buck is found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to life.
You got the sense that she was remorseful and very sorry for all that had transpired and seemed somewhat confused as to how maybe it snowballed in the way that it did.
While awaiting trial, Lisa Michelle gives birth to a baby girl. She is being raised by her grandparents. Having been found guilty of first-degree murder, Lisa Michelle Lambert will spend the rest of her life behind bars.
I don't want to ever see her out. I would be in fear of my life if she was ever released.
If Lisa Michelle were released and she were less than 85 years old, some woman somewhere around her would be in danger.
Baby-face looks can be deceiving. They can hide terrible sins that can't be washed away.
Daphne was destined to kill someone.
Too bad, I'm going.
Daphne Abdella is only 15, but she scares people,
I'm going in as
including her parents.
Why do you keep on doing this to yourself?
Because I'm an alcoholic. Can't you get that through your thick skull?
Don't talk to your mother like that.
Her constant verbal and physical abuse forces her father to take out a restraining order.
It's hard to say how a kid gets to that point in their life, and it's certainly hard to understand how Daphne did, but she got there.
I hate you both!
When a child hits a parent, it is a very significant predictor of future bad behavior. And in that regard, Daphne didn't let anybody down.
New York's Central Park is Daphne's favorite hangout, and where she befriends another misfit, Christopher Vasquez.
What are you doing? You're such a loser.
Well, Christopher was from the wrong side of the tracks. He lived in a fifth-floor walk-up, and his parents were working class.
Christopher has his own issues. He's anxious and prone to depression.
He was on a variety of psychotropic medications, including antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. And he lacked experience with people his own age. So he was kind of a sheep, willing to follow anyone who was willing to lead him.
Hey, you, what school are you from? Hey, I'm talking to you. What school are you from?
Hey, you looking for trouble?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I said, are you looking for trouble?
Christopher is in awe of Daphne's bravado.
We are trouble.
Okay, just take it easy, all right?
Daphne and Christopher fed off each other. He was shy, she was brazen.
Hey, come on, these guys are losers.
He admired her take charge attitude and behavior. He liked the way she could tell people to screw off and just say anything she wanted. So for him, Daphne was a shining star.
Christopher is always at Daphne's side, hoping for affection.
Have you thought about what I said? About you being my girlfriend.
Yeah.
She teases him, flirts with him, and then rejects him. Daphne's real passion is alcohol.
Daphne found herself a member of AA at 15 years old. By that time, there was probably already significant damage done by the drugs and alcohol.
Daphne isn't from the wrong side of the tracks. Just the opposite.
They lived right across the street from the Dakota and right across the street from Central Park.
Author Stella Sands says Daphne's upmarket lifestyle meant nothing to her.
Daphne went to private schools, vacationed in very exotic lands, had everything she ever wanted. But on the inside, it seemed she was disturbed, angry, upset.
Those around her see Daphne's temper getting worse. By May 1997, she's making outrageous threats.
She says, "I'm gonna kill someone before this night is over."
She had said, "I'm going to slice someone tonight." She was very arrogant and very haughty the whole day.
Nothing ever happens in their boring, boring lives.
But no one takes the 15-year-old seriously.
I'm gonna make something happen. I'm gonna slice someone. You ready?
She apparently was heard saying repeatedly that she was going to kill somebody today. And nobody took her seriously, I think, because I think she had ranted like that before.
I'm in.
"15-year-old Daphne Abdella's favorite haunt is Central Park.
So what you guys got to remember, this was the 60s. It wasn't like today. So this
She
was a
likes
pretty
to
big
hang
deal.
out there with a group of older, regular drinkers. On May 22nd, 1997, she and Christopher Vasquez have been drinking all day and well into the night.
Jim looks at him. He says, well, you know.
They cross paths with a park regular, Michael McMorrow, close to Strawberry Fields.
Here's the Jim.
Hey, who wants a beer? Hey, you want a beer? Hey, I know you. You're Irish.
Yeah, we talked about the AA meetings before.
Daphne and Christopher convince Michael to go down to the lake.
You want a beer?
Never say no.
They said, night is still young. Let's go and have some fun.
But it's a trap. Both teenagers are armed with knives.
Hey, look, just take it easy, kid, okay? There's no need for this. Kid, put the knife away. Just put the knife away, okay?
Stab him!
Hey.
Daphne kicked Michael's legs out from underneath him, and that gave Christopher the opportunity to really jump on Michael and start stabbing him in very vulnerable spots.
Mr. McMorrow was stabbed so many times.
Slicing from ear to ear.
It was a really brutal crime.
His nose was almost severed. His wrist was almost severed. He had slices across his face, and he had at least 6 stab wounds to his chest and heart area. His lungs collapsed. I don't think there was a part of his body that wasn't touched.
And it's very difficult to tell if these wounds happened before death or after death.
They felt nothing for him. He was a way for Daphne to vent her rage against the world. And it was done. Time to go home.
The teenagers clean up in the basement of Daphne's apartment.
What is your emergency?
My daughter hasn't come home. She should have been home hours ago.
Upstairs, Daphne's worried father has called police. It's way past Daphne's curfew.
Daphne, are you in here?
Get out!
The officers are tipped off that Daphne and Christopher are hiding in the apartment's utility room.
Hurry up.
Is that blood?
When the police officer walked closer, he saw that there was blood in the sink. And he asked them, "What's that from?"
We fell rollerblading.
They showed their little cuts, and it didn't really raise any red flag to the police officer.
But it does for Daphne. She fears she's going to be caught. So she makes an extraordinary phone call to 911.
Operator says, "What's up?" She said, "There's a dead body in the lake." I said, "What lake?" "Central Park Lake."
When the police arrive to question her, Daphne is enjoying dinner.
And the superiors came and interviewed Daphne. And in the middle of it all, she was eating her mac and cheese, very calm.
Yep, my friend Kristen.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. He killed the guy and then gutted him. I can show you where the body is.
So she led the group over to the park, over to the gazebo, and there they found Michael floating.
I told you, there he is. I tried to help you. I tried to give you CPR.
She starts screaming nonsense about how she had tried to save Michael.
For Detective Hal Sherman, it is a case he will never forget.
I responded to about 2,300 crime scenes, and this would have to be one of the top 10 as far as gruesome is concerned.
They found 40 inches of intestines floating nearby. They found blood surrounding him.
His internal organs had been removed, and his body was stuffed with stones and garbage and just left there to float in the lake.
Neither teenager admits any guilt. They blame each other. Because of the conflicting and confusing testimonies, the only charge that will stick is manslaughter. Both Daphne Abdella and Christopher Vasquez are sentenced to 10 years, but only spend 6 years behind bars.
She didn't seem remorseful about what she had done, and I think that, to me, was the biggest slap in the face.
For Michael McMorrow's family, Strawberry Fields is a place of sorrow and loss.
She has a whole life ahead of her now. My uncle does not. It's something we have to live with, and then she continues on in her life, having not really apologized, having not really served an adequate prison sentence, in my opinion. And Michael's gone. We don't have Michael. Michael doesn't have his life to live.
Daphne has been free since 2004. She still calls New York home.
I certainly hope that Daphne got a lot of psychotherapy when she was in prison.
It's hard being the new kid at school.
Adrian just wanted to be accepted by the people around her.
Classmates can be so cruel. Your friend, one day.
You know, Adrian just wanted people to like her.
Your deadly enemy, the next.
She wanted to see that life in Adrian's eyes disappear.
In 2005, in East Moline, Illinois, the local goth teenagers are often rebellious. But 17-year-old Sarah Kolb is totally angry.
What is it with these people? They drive me crazy.
She kind of looked like a thug freak, you know, real weird looking, and she tried to act like she was bad.
They dress the same, walk the same, talk the same.
You know, don't mess with me.
They need to be slaughtered like the sheep that they are. Bad.
She had to be the leader. If she wasn't the center of attention and the leader, she got you out of that group. She often thought about violence and blood and guts and that whole, you know, dark part of society.
Hey,
Check it out.
Her #1 follower is Corey Gregory.
Sarah had a kind of a charisma about her that the other teenagers were attracted to her. I mean, not just the boys, but the females too.
Teresa Gregory watched her son, Corey, fall under Sarah's spell.
She kind of had an emotional hold over him. I just didn't know how deep that went. He was so head over heels for this girl. He just felt that he would do anything for her. Anything that she needed or wanted, he was just there for her.
Why is anyone's guess.
The new girl in town, 16-year-old Adrienne Reynolds, is also in awe of Sarah.
I like piercings.
Thanks.
Immediately, Sarah and Adrienne are attracted to each other, and they develop a friendship.
I like your thong.
And Adrienne really falls for Sarah. She sees in Sarah this authority figure, this girl who will love her unconditionally.
Maybe you'll find out.
She's been through a rough, rough life. She's been into several different homes. At 12 years old, she had a drug problem already. She's been promiscuous, and she's trying to better her life.
Adrienne's grandfather, Tony, gives her a home, hoping it leads to a fresh start.
When she moved up here, she didn't have a whole lot of friends or family. You know, she just wanted somebody to give a damn about her.
The three become inseparable in a triangle of sexual tension. But then, Corey commits the ultimate betrayal.
He befriends Adrienne.
Does Sarah know you're here?
Are you joking?
She scares me.
Don't worry about it. She's got an anger problem.
Are you screwing her?
I know it made Sarah mad that Corey hung out with Adrienne because he told me.
And that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
You asshole. Bitch is gonna pay for what you did.
This is 8.
Sarah Kolb becomes insanely jealous.
Oh, go, Corey.
She makes Adrienne's life miserable.
Sarah, you're way overreacting.
Really? You're a two-faced little bitch.
Sarah begins to really spread vicious rumors about Adrienne. She begins to threaten Adrienne.
She had tried to get other girls at school to beat Adrienne up.
Look, it's not like we were together.
You sleaze on me, you sleaze on anything that moves. You're a dirty whore.
I think Sarah's motivation to hurt Adrienne was one of the oldest stories we know: jealousy.
You need to raise yourself.
But no one could imagine how jealous.
She wrote in there, I think it was, I'm gonna kill the bitch. So yeah, she definitely had it on her mind that she wanted to do it.
She wanted to see that life in Adrienne's eyes disappear.
A teenage crush has turned into insane jealousy.
You have Adrienne Reynolds, the new kid in town. You have Sarah Kolb, the leader of the pack. And you have Corey Gregory, the puppy dog that follows Sarah wherever she wants to go. And what is this? It's a perfect storm brewing of violence.
Hey, Adrienne. How are you?
But naive Adrienne doesn't see the danger. She still wants to be friends and is lured into a trap.
Sorry I've been a bitch. Thought we could talk.
Sarah tells her, Everything's gonna be all right. Let's go out, get some lunch, talk this through.
Yeah, all right.
She didn't think about her safety. Maybe she didn't feel that she was in danger. I don't know. There's so much at play here.
In broad daylight, in the parking lot of a busy restaurant, Sarah attacks.
Sarah's yelling obscenities at Adrian, calling her a whore, calling her a bitch. Well, Adrian, she's a tough girl. She punches Sarah, punches her in the nose. Then the fight really starts getting underway. Adrian ends up down, covering herself. And Adrian's just fighting to try to survive.
Sarah's unconscious, but they haven't finished yet.
And then that's when Corey wrapped the belt around her neck.
Get your belt, Corey!
And I think that's how she died.
Nobody really knows exactly what happened. But a beautiful young girl lost her life, and my son and his friend tried to conceal that homicide.
The teenagers now have a body to get rid of.
Sarah gets an idea. Why don't we take her out to my grandpappy's farm and we'll burn her? They pour gasoline on her. They light her on fire. She doesn't burn. They pour gas again. They light her on fire. She doesn't burn. Sarah says, you know what? We need to call our friend Nate.
Hey, Nate. Yeah, it's Sarah. Got a job for you.
And Nate has always dreamed of doing something violent.
2 days later, Nate Gaudette, another goth who can't say no to Sarah, gets to work.
You guys really messed her up, yeah? Sturdy ass.
She knew he was capable of doing it. According to her, he cut up small animals, so he was the one to call to cut up Adrian's body.
Picks up Adrian's leg and he saws it off. And then he saws off her other leg. And then he saws off her arms. And then he saws her head off. And then for some strange reason, he saws her torso in half. And what do Nate and Corey then do? They walk around and they put those body parts, that 16-year-old precious girl, they put her into 2 garbage bags. And now they're gonna dispose of her.
They put half of her out in Aledo, out in the country, and then part of her in Rock Island. Their theory was they'd separate the parts and then they couldn't find her.
What did they do afterwards? They go to a fast food restaurant and gorge themselves on cheeseburgers and French fries. That's what they do.
It may seem shocking that we have 3 kids kill a classmate, dismember them, and then go out for lunch. People will do things in a group that they would never do individually.
For 3 days, a grandfather frantically searches for his granddaughter. he turns to her friends for help, including Sarah Kolb.
Sarah she's a heck of an actor, because by the time we had called them, Adrian was already dead. We didn't know it. And they just played like, just like me and you are talking. It never bothered them at all.
Sarah may be cool and collected, but Corey's conscience is getting to him.
His dad started questioning Corey and telling him that if something's happened, he needs to tell the truth. He just broke down and said, you know, I need to go back to the police station and I need my lawyer. I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. My beautiful child. There's just no way to even explain how bad it hurt.
Corey Gregory's evidence incriminates all 3 teens. Nate Gaudette receives 5 years for disposing of Adrian's body. Corey Gregory pleads guilty to first-degree murder and is sentenced to 45 years.
First-degree murder is 100% of your time, so he will serve every day of 45 years.
Sarah Kolb pleads not guilty, insisting Corey is the killer. The jury doesn't agree. She is convicted of murder and sentenced to a total of 53 years.
The only thing that you could hear her say was, I felt nothing when she died. For somebody 16 years old to be that cold.
I think Sarah was a stone-cold sociopath. She ruined their lives, and she's defiant to the core.
These deadly women all shared a warped passion. Lisa Michelle Lambert's insane jealousy led to a brutal murder. Rich kid Daphne Abdella lived out her deadly fantasy. And Sarah Kolb's desire turned to deadly force. They were all young killers who were lovesick.